And if I give them that ammunition and I give them that data, more often than not, you get to the decision that you're intended to get to. And so that for us, remarkably, it really started with Zylo.
Daniel, when you were bringing the groups together to have those conversations, I think this is where a lot of companies struggle. How do we talk about this as a business? How do we cross collaborate? What were some of those things that you looked at when you're examining app redundancy and you've got marketing over here who really wants their thing and you've got sales over here? Like that's a tough conversation. What were some of the things you surfaced, your team surfaced and highlighted?
Yeah, Meredith, I think this is a great question. Like for me, I always look at data. Data drives decisions, right? So if we can get our hands around data, then that's going to be able to present our teams with all the ammunition that they need. And if I give them that ammunition and I give them that data, more often than not, you get to the decision that you're intended to get to. And so that for us, remarkably, it really started with Zylo, and I could get into Zylo and get all the data that I needed. And we were operating in really short timelines, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to go in different systems and ping different people and get all that information. Was really reliant that it was all in a central location and I could easily digest it. So then once you digest it, it's like, okay, how do I kind of quadrant this? And I think there's a whole bunch of different ways of how you could come up with different quadrants. For us, we just came up with four quadrants. That was one was governance. So apps that we thought that there was rationalization, or that we wanted to put a little bit more management behind that, and we'd bucket our apps in there. And then we'd bucket all of our other apps. We'd bucket another group of apps in our what we called strategic partners. And these are the apps that that they're not going to go away, and that you're going to have kind of really direct negotiations with those. And then we had a bucket of a whole bunch of apps that fell under IT for some reason, but no one knew what they were, or there was no ownership. And we knew, like, hey, if those weren't in the right full ownership spot, and we had to hand those back to the business, because if they owned it, they would have the best view of really what the strategic direction is, or the best licensing position might be. And then last but not least would be a bucket was just like, hey, we know we can just optimize. The contract is based on license utilization. So if we manage these, we can optimize, and we can kind of make sure that we're getting best value for the licenses that we're using. So putting that together and putting that in front of all the various stakeholders and showing them the data behind it, we all were on this common goal. So it was kind of an easy conversation in that sense, of where the alignment was and where the opportunity was.
I love that framework. The framework paired with bringing data to the table. It is easier to have a more comprehensive strategic conversation with the business. So I love that.